What's up, everybody? It's your coach, Jaron, here with Forge, and welcome to the Forge 8-week self-guided nutrition program. Now, I have a lot of experience when it comes to diet and training. It's been 24 years since I first decided that I wanted to make changes to my body. That initially started after having a brain surgery when I was about 16. The medications that they gave me post-op caused me to gain a bunch of weight, and I wanted to get that weight off and get back to a normal size as quickly as possible. Once I experienced that success and learned that it was possible to make conscious changes to my body through hard work and through learning things about how to train and how to eat, I was kind of hooked. After that point, I decided that I wanted to get huge. So I started learning everything that I could from the biggest guy that I had access to, who told me to eat 6,000 calories a day, 400 grams of protein, gave me a laundry list of supplements to buy, and I did every single thing that he did, even when I had to throw up and re-eat the same meal just to get the calories in. And you know what? It worked. After that, I dieted down from about 230 down to 175 pounds to compete in bodybuilding. That took me about a year. I gained about 30 pounds back in 2 days just from stopping at every fast food place along the way home after that bodybuilding show. And over the following years, managed to gain and lose about 50 pounds several times. The heaviest I ever got was over 280 pounds when I was at my biggest for powerlifting. After I stopped competing at that weight class, I dropped all the way down to about 205, and I've consistently held around 220 ever since then. I've been a lot of different sizes is the point of this. And over the course of these experiences, I've gotten to use all of the major different dieting approaches. I've had periods of time where I did high carb diets. I've had periods of time where I did low carb or ketogenic. I've done intermittent fasting with controlled eating windows. I've done 1 meal a day. I've done 10 meals a day. I've gone 7 days without eating. And you know what I've learned? They all work. From using these different approaches with clients and having had clients who have lost 150 pounds or skinny kids who've put on 50 pounds over the course of a year, I've learned that all the different approaches work. And it makes you ask the question, well, if everything can work, then what are the principles behind these successes that are causing these different approaches to work? Because if there was a best way to eat or a best way to train, then everyone would be doing it. But quite the opposite is true. We see people using vastly different approaches, all being successful. And the only conclusion that we can draw is that the reason that they're successful is because of their discipline and their compliance. And so over the years of coaching people, I have shifted away from writing a diet and giving a specific eat these things and eat these amounts, which does work. Right? That is absolutely a viable approach. And if you are someone who is in the end stages of dieting or who's trying to get down into single digit body fat, you will absolutely need to have those kinds of approaches where everything is accounted for and specifically prescribed and measured. But for the average person, it's much less complicated. And it's much more a matter of identifying behavioral patterns and creating long-term sustainable habits that lead to healthy body composition over the long haul. One of the things that I came across very often when coaching other people is that regardless of what kind of a plan that I put them on, it always came back down to compliance. The ones who were successful were the ones who were 100% compliant, or as close to it as they could possibly be, regardless of the plan, because we were able to assume that they were doing what they were saying they were going to do. Those people that successfully kept weight off, myself included, were the ones that identified the behavioral patterns that were not productive towards weight loss or weight gain, that were able to create systems for themselves to set themselves up for success and hedge their best bets and be prepared to have the best compliance possible. And over time, I had to shift. I shifted from being the professional who provided the ideal diet and held people accountable all along the way, from getting text messages and pictures of menus saying, what can I eat? And having diet check-ins where it's like, yeah, well, I had a really tough weekend and I just ate a whole box of cookies because I was stressed. And instead had to become someone who facilitated and taught people how to be accountable to themselves. If you think about it, especially in this remote context, I'm not cooking your food for you. I'm not there to help you make every good decision. I'm not going to swat the bagel out of your hand. I'm not there to put locks on your refrigerator when you wake up in the middle of the night and start scrounging around for some junk to eat. You're in control of that. The way that I eat doesn't help you lose weight, and the way that you eat doesn't affect me. At the end of the day, you're only accountable to yourself with this, and your choices only impact you and the people around you. Because of this, I have simplified my approach to nutrition over the years quite a bit, which is the reason that this program is self-guided. Over the course of the next 8 weeks, I'm going to give you 8 different assignments that are going to help you to learn awareness of your current patterns of eating, to identify those behavioral patterns that are not productive or conducive for your goals. You're going to work on eliminating those low-hanging fruit behaviors, those eating like a jerk things, those habits that you don't need me to tell you are not helpful for you. We're going to work on eliminating those things, because part of discipline and part of accountability is identifying who you want to be, identifying the character traits that you want to embody, and then creating and following patterns of behaviors that are in alignment with that person and with that ideal. God gives us the ability to have discipline and to practice self-control. In fact, he commands it of us. The way that we approach eating and consumption, something that we can't choose not to do, ought to be in line with those patterns of behavior and that self-control. As we go through the next 8 weeks, I want you to do your best to follow the assignments exactly as how they're written. We're going to identify those low-hanging fruit behaviors. We're going to make conscious interventions in your eating. You're going to learn the impact that those choices have on your body composition, your mood, your energy, your sleep, your performance, because your nutrition drastically affects your performance with your training and your recovery. And you're going to identify the ways in which how you practice discipline over your eating actually influences the people around you. I also created an 8-week devotional guide that pairs with each of the specific assignments for this program. So I highly encourage you to check out that resource that'll be linked below or in the Files tab on the Forge app. With that being said, I hope you enjoy the next 8 weeks of this program. I look forward to guiding you through it and seeing you grow as you practice discipline over your eating.